I grew up in Austin, Texas. I went to Hill Elementary, Hyde Park High School, Texas. I've played music originally. I run a farm and ranch. I've been involved in the alternative energy business. I've been involved in commercial lending. And I was recruited by some concerned Austinites, members of the business community, to run for mayor to correct the course of what they feel has been an Adler disaster as far as taxation and affordability is concerned.
Okay, and you're talking about
and traffic. No, I'm talking about now. No, I'm talking about now. I did well in 2014. Adler had asked me for his endorsement in the runoff between him and Mike Martinez. I wish I had not given him that endorsement because I feel as if he didn't follow through, broken promise on 20% homestead exemption. Being a friend of the business community, he has not been. He's actually been antagonistic to the business community, evidenced by the paid mandatory sick leave situation that's going to hurt restaurateurs. And I'm not sure how this, the requirements and the fines coming up with the composting requirements. I mean, when you're talking about fining at a business thousands of dollars a day when it's just getting enacted, what's going to happen when one of the bins is overflown and the guy comes by? I mean, it's going to be a nightmare, and it's just hard to do business any longer. And one of the things our campaign is wanting to do is to provide relief to the property owners that have iconic businesses on them. You know, we've seen the Frisco shut its stores. Most recently, everybody's heard about Threadgill's. What we want to do is start a iconic business protection and designation board that would designate these businesses, and then we provide them an extreme amount of property tax relief to their landlord that would be passed through and be required to be passed through on their rent so they'd be able to stay in Austin. Because in addition to getting tired of seeing my friends have to no longer be able to live in Austin, they're fleeing Austin, retirees are getting pushed out of their homes because people like Steve Adler are spending money on the wrong things and borrowing money on the wrong things. I want to protect these businesses by giving them a property tax exemption immediately. And I want to protect homeowners with a 20% property tax exemption.
Okay. And is that something that you can implement or fight for as soon as you
That's going to be day one, top priority. And I want to work across the lines with state leaders to provide more reliefs and find other avenues. And I don't want to have this type of antagonistic relationship that the mayor's had with people at the state level by passing silly anti-business ordinances, like the unisex bathroom thing, for instance, that they have to work to provide relief to businesses in Austin afterwards. And there's that contentious relationship's not good for anyone, as well as his contentious relationship with the police. I mean, I believe the man has literally made Austin much more unsafe. He's diminished police morale. He has not given them the contract that they want. He's not agreed to give them the type of living wage that Austin requires, because at the same time, he's driving people out of Austin by spending money. I mean, they want to spend more in the bond, the new bond. They want to spend nearly as much on museums and cultural centers that we already have that people don't really go to as they do on road infrastructure. In the last bond, they filled it full of walkables. The disconnect is absurd. The mayor lives in a multi-million-dollar condo where he can walk to work, but everybody else is having to bring their materials to work in their vehicle is stuck over there on Mopac, like I was on my way to this interview. Yeah. So what do you got for me? So ask me a question.
Okay, so we're doing well. So so this guy, the mayor and the council, they have often done a lot of national sort of deals over the past few years. Like they've gone to Tornillo to advocate against the children being separated from families. Today they passed on an abortion resolution, basically a symbolic thing, advocating against the banning of insurance coverage for abortion. Like, they do a lot of stuff like that. Are you going to be completely different from that? Or?
Wasting your time as a city council member when we're in a traffic and affordability crisis on issues that you do not have any influence over, when the people of Austin elected you to represent them so they can stay in Austin, so they can afford to live here, so that they can get from A to B in less than an hour and a half. Those are the issues I want to focus on. I don't want to be trying to get national attention because of some political career that Adler made. You know, I'm not going to be like Adler. He's running around trying to advance his political career and wasting our money and time on these national issues he has no influence over, while we're sitting here suffering in the traffic crisis.
Okay. Something I've been asking some of the other candidates is the arch. The arch is kind of an interesting issue. It's this homeless shelter downtown. A lot of people feel like it should not have been put there in the first place about 20 years ago. And so now it's this interesting thing where you've got the homeless themselves being preyed upon by drug dealers and things like that. And then the homeless themselves, some of them are panhandlers and they're assaulting people downtown. And so some people, even one homeless advocate I can think of named Richard Troxel, who housed the homeless, he's saying, let's just move the thing. I mean, but yet the mayor and Tovo want to keep it there and they want to fix it. Do you have
All
any
right,
thoughts on
here's
that?
what's happened. The mayor, through his policies, have made Austin extremely unsafe. Not only for the gentle homeless, the older homeless. I mean, you know what happened to iconic Leslie. But what he's done is he's made Austin, Texas, a national magnet for younger, able-bodied, single men and some women that are addicted to drugs, very aggressive, and they're camping in wooded areas, lurking behind people's homes. It's not good for homeowners, it's not good for Austinites, it's not good for them. You recall the architect that was killed by a homeless man when he was punched a few years ago. And then this climate of bringing these people in as Austin, you know, not enforcing things. I would be in favor of a panhandling ordinance. And I also would be in favor of banning urban camping. You saw this, you saw the horrible incident that happened at UT campus by the young man that was similar to what I described. You know, a vagabond that came into Austin that was unsupervised, and he, you know what happened. We lost a young lady that was murdered on campus. And I immediately want to make Austin safer. Mayor Adler has made it unsafe with this type of ideological, rigid approach. I want to get people vocational training. I like what Mobile Loaves and Fishes is doing. But I would advocate an urban camping ban. I would advocate a panhandling ordinance that's enforceable. And I would advocate with that we provide vocational training outside of Austin. When the folks are identified, they have no place to stay at all, that we work with the state and we establish an area outside of Austin where vocational training and housing can happen.
So that would mean getting rid of that one and moving
Oh yeah.
out.
It's in the area it is, it's also exacerbating the problem. You know, when you have an entertainment district full of half inebriated people and you have people panhandling that are also addicted to various substances, it's just a formula for trouble, and it's a formula for essentially mayhem. But it's that type of mayhem is spread outside of Austin. Like I said, we have people in wooded areas camping, we have the injuries to the older general homeless folks, and we have that horrible incident that happened on campus to the young lady. I just want to say that Austin doesn't feel like Austin anymore. It's less safe. People are being pushed out of Austin. The elderly that I know that would like to stay here cannot stay here any longer, and it's a direct consequence of mismanagement by the mayor and some other folks on the council. And my name's Todd Phelps, and I'm ready to change it by being your next mayor of Austin.